Hey yo, what is going on guys, Cash and Clean here, and for today's video I just wanted to go over what classes you could main in 2022, and I'll be going over every single class, my opinions about the classes, and which ones that you should pick. If there is a class out here that you like and you really want to play that class, then go ahead and do it. Just don't listen to me. This is just like some advice if you're kind of stuck and don't know who to play. But like say you like Dracolyte and I just, didn't like Dracolyte for example, then, just feel free to play him. My opinions on this video shouldn't really change your considerations on any of these characters. And I'm not going to provide gameplay for the characters because you can check out my last video, which is pretty much a build for every single character, but there is gameplay as well. So if you want to check out the gameplay for the certain character you want, there's timestamps in there as well. I'll link it in the description. And if there is a character that you want to know how to build, you can also check out my previous video for that as well. So I'm just going to go in order here, starting things off with Vanguard. You can farm with this character and you can do damage as well with this character. But from what I've seen, most people kind of just use this character to farm. There aren't really that many people that use them, but if you do end up using them, people do farm with them. So I don't think many people actually know this, but if you do, then, I'm sure there's a lot of you that do know about this, but just in case if you don't, Vanguard can actually buff your allies as well as just, yourself. If we take a look at the M5 ability here, so I'm in melee mode, so if I just do this, you can see I'm in melee mode, and my M5 ability here says that it will increase my movement speed and damage resistance, so this is good for farming. However, if I do want to do some damage, I would just, press my ultimate ability, and as you can see, my things change down here. And this one increases damage and attack speed, so it's a little bit different than the last one. But yeah, overall, I would recommend this character. I don't really play him, but if you like him, then I would say go for it. Moving on to the Chloromancer. Now, I haven't really met people that farm with this character, but if you do, then, it's actually pretty cool. But yeah, this character is just going to be used for damage. He did get that nerf. The only thing different about this character is that you're going to be throwing this plant, and when you use your ultimate, you have to press Q twice if you have Chronomatic emblem. This thing over here, and you get your, that good plant, this plant over here quicker that way. But yeah, you just have to press it twice before it was just once. And his overall damage did go down with the recent patches. He is still really good for damage. I do recommend the Chloromancer. Chloromancer is a good class for the bosses. Moving on to the Tomb Raiser. Now for this character, you're not really going to be fighting bosses with them, but you could. You just, there's going to be a lot of better classes out there for bosses. So instead you can farm with this character. You can do delves. If you find yourself doing depths of 128 or lower, you can use this character to clear out the delves, because you can just, honestly just spam all of your abilities here and just walk around like this. You'll gain your movement speed buffs, whatever allies or empower gems you have, and you can have these minions just take out the creatures in the delves, and you can just kind of run along. Overall, I would recommend Tomb Raiser. Tomb Raiser is a good class to use. Going over to the Gunslinger. Now, I don't really recommend this class anymore. I personally don't really like it, and if you do use this character, it's going to be used for bosses. He does pretty good burst DPS damage, so if you just get your ultimate up, you can just, fire away. I just don't want to destroy my land, but, you would just do that and try to control your ultimate so you can, get it on cycle, if that makes sense. And I don't think many people actually know this, but the ultimate actually gives you movement speed. So as you can see right there, I got a little bit of movement speed, not too much. Not enough that wants me to farm with this character, but yeah, overall I wouldn't really recommend Gunslinger. Moving on to the Neon Ninja. Now, a lot of people like this character, and a lot of people end up quitting because of this character, so if you do end up playing him, you can kind of pick and choose if you want to. I do like this class. I use him for farming. He's pretty good. He does some pretty good damage, but he's not really known for fighting bosses. He's more of just, farming. But yeah, he's a fun character to use. I would recommend him, so if you get your hands on Neon Ninja, I would build him. Moving on to the Shadow Hunter. Now, this is going to be your best all-around character, because you can do a lot of damage with him, and you can also farm with him. Just use your roll ability and you'll be able to keep up your movement speed, and if you have, allies or empowered gems to keep up your movement speed if you kill enemies, you can do that as well. Not only that, but Shadow Hunter is just going to do a lot of damage to bosses and just enemies in general. If there's a group of enemies, I like using the M5 ability. Just throw that down and it explodes. Overall, I would definitely recommend Shadow Hunter. Shadow Hunter is a good character. Moving on to the Ice Age. Now, this used to be the best overall character in the past, and it still kind of is. You can use Ice Age for farming. You just have to keep your ultimate up on cycle. You can do both farming and damaging enemies with Ice Age. There are other characters out there that are better for bosses, but you could still use the Ice Age, but you could also farm with Ice Age. It's a pretty good all-around class, so I would recommend Ice Age. Moving on to the Pirate Captain. Now, I don't know what it is, but I actually feel fast when I use the Pirate Captain, so if you can go ahead and farm with him, but he's also good for damage. You can use Pirate Captain's turrets to, help you out with fighting enemies. He isn't a long-range type character, which is kind of what it is, but it's alright. Pirate Captain's still pretty good, and I actually would recommend Pirate Captain. He seems pretty fun to play, even though I haven't really played him myself, as you can see. with the levels over here. Moving on to the Knight. Now this character is going to be one to be used for farming, because if you remove his class gem, you can actually fly from dungeon to dungeon. I have his class gem, so I have this ability, sadly. Overall, I would recommend this character. I don't think a lot of people actually use him. Moving on over to the Bard. Bard is actually one of my favorite classes in the game now. You can do both damage and farm with him, but I personally just farm with him for now. His range isn't that good like Power Captain's, but it is a little bit further. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to know how to play him and see his gameplay, just check out the video in the description down below to see what it's like to play with Bard. Overall, I would recommend Bard. He's a pretty good all-around character as well. Moving on over to the Candy Barb. Now, Candy Barb is actually pretty good now, but I personally just don't like using this character. There's going to be other characters that are better than him at other things. You can do both farming and do damage, or just, you know, use your ultimate to help your allies. Just, you know, do that and that'll give them a little buff. So if you really do like this character, you can go ahead and use him, but I'm personally just not going to recommend him to you guys. But if you do like him, then just go ahead and play him. Don't listen to me. Moving on to the Fae Trickster. Now, I've met a couple people that farm with this character, but there isn't really that many. I don't think people actually like this character for some reason. He's pretty good for farming, and you can also use him for damage, but just note that there's going to be other characters better than Fae Trickster for damage. Overall, I would recommend this character, but I don't know. Like I said earlier, not a lot of people actually like this character. Moving on to the Dino Tamer. Now, this is a character that I actually do like to use. All you have to do is just cycle through his ultimate. Just make sure your ultimate is up at all times, and you'll be able to farm pretty well with him, and you can also deal damage, but there are other characters that will deal damage better than Dino Tamer. But overall, I would recommend this character. He's pretty good for farming. Moving on to the Revenant here. Now, Revenant is going to be good for all around, so you can do DPS and you can also farm with him. I don't have anything movement speed related on him, but I might switch to movement speed just so I can actually farm with Revenant here. He seems kind of like a heavy class to use, which makes sense, but I know of a lot of people that actually use this character to farm, so you could use him if you want to. Overall, I would recommend using the Revenant here. Moving over to the Boomeranger. Now, this is a character that I just don't like using, but if you really want to, you can do both damage and farm with him. I don't really have too much to say about him, but if you have his blast bow hidden effect, then that's pretty good. But apart from that, then yeah, I don't know. I don't really like this character, but if you want to use him, go ahead. Moving on to the Draco. Draco is going to be pretty good for farming. You could use him for damage. There are other characters out there that will just do damage better than Draco, but if you do like this character, I would recommend him for sure. And you can also do low depth delves with Dino Tamer. You can just spam the little eggs here, his minions, and you can just go through each floor and they will just take out the creatures. But yeah, I would recommend using Draco. Last but not least, we have the Lunar Lancer here. Now, you could use this character for both farming and damage. I know of a lot of people that actually use this character for both, actually. He's pretty fun, especially after his rework. And if you're able to use his ultimate ability, his abilities change and they're actually pretty cool. He moves a lot quicker, and overall he's just pretty fun to play, so I would recommend this character as well. Hopefully this video has helped if you can't figure out who to play in 2022 or which character to start building. There's a lot of options out there. We have literally 17 different classes, so whichever character you like from this video, you can go ahead and build that. Or if you have a personal favorite, you can go ahead and build that as well. It's always nice to have one character to do the damaging for you and one character to do the farming for you. So if you have a character for both, then that would be good. I would recommend farming character first, just so that character can, you know, put stuff on other characters like the gems if you go farming for those. And if you have any other opinions or something you want to mention in the comments down below, go ahead. I read all the comments, and if for whatever reason you don't have a comment on yours, then I just didn't get notified for whatever reason, and I just probably won't see your comments, sadly, but I will do my best to reply to every single one of them. So if there's something you want to say in there, let me know and I'll respond. I'll do my best to. And on that note, subscribe if you're brand new to the channel, drop a like, and I will see you all later.